I would like very much to welcome everybody to the Murphy Institute of the School of Professional Studies of CUNY. This is an institution that is both dedicated to and works with the working people of this city and their organizations. And we are particularly pleased today with this forum to welcome the street vendors of the city of New York to the Murphy Institute for the first time.
I have long been a supporter of street vendors and have tried hard to understand their plight and make things better. One of the first things I did when I became a council member in 2005 was to spend a day following street vendors in East Harlem to get a better understanding of the challenges they face. Street vendors are not your typical workers. They have no boss, no fixed place of employment, no set wage, no paid sick days, no guarantee of work. But make no mistake, they are workers, and they have the same needs and the same dreams as everyone else. Across the country, worker centers are partnering with labor unions to stand up for all workers. Worker centers are gaining from the experience and the resources of organized labor. Unions are renewing their ties to low-income and immigrant workers who have sometimes been left behind. I know that one of the major challenges that we have in this city is that we have not seen a raise in the cap on the number of vendor permits in the city of New York for way too long.
I teach a class on state and local advocacy, and we had a member of the city council come recently, and we asked him, sort of all the groups that come to you to advocate, which one do you think is the most effective? Which one, has done the best job in advocating for their own concerns? And he named the Street Vendors Project and said that you all do a fantastic job of telling your story and making it compelling for the community at large, but also for policymakers and decision makers. So it's critical that we partner with you and figure out what we can do as a city to remove the barriers that street vendors face and make it more possible for workers in this sector to achieve stability and success.
And our view at Murphy of the work of the street vendors and where they are situated in the city's economy, our view of this is they need to be fully integrated into the institutions of organized labor of the city.
Escuchar nosotros lo que hablamos, que nos ayuden para el sticker del carro push car.
So I need all of city council members here and all of us here listening to help us get this bill passed, because we wanna get more permits. We want to be able to work with a permit and to work legally, and we need all of your support for that.
The reason Make the Road New York started doing organizing those small businesses in our communities is because we thought it was really important to organize our whole community, not just a particular sector of our community. And street vendors became an essential part of that. At Make the Road, we've always been concerned in the city's approach to street vendors. We feel like the enforcement-only approach has not worked. Actually, they're added value to the community. They're somebody that needs to be integrated and brought to the table and have conversations with, because there's something, there's something extremely valuable by them being in our community.
We want healthy, good food, but also we want to make sure that the people who are producing and selling us that food are treated fairly. And I'm so excited about this project with the Street Vendor Project and about expanding the permits and licensing, because street vendors are an instrumental part of New York City. Everyone who comes to New York City wants to get a hot dog from a cart.
There's this kind of thriving black market for these permits, which exists solely because of the cap that's been placed on them. It's like a supply and demand sort of thing, which makes it extremely expensive to street vendors. Permits range, from $14,000 to $24,000 for a 2-year rental of one. So it makes our lives really vulnerable. We're all constantly at risk as people who are just trying to have an honest small business in the city.
New administration has said that they want to address the inequality that exists within New York City, and I think this is a way to address that inequality, which affects race, gender, class, and immigration.
I think for us, one of the things that we want to make sure it happens is that you hear other workers that are in solidarity supporting the street vendors, so they don't seem that like they're there on their own, but the other people that are supporting them. I think we've been able, working with the Murphy Institute and many others, is really creating a movement of low-wage workers around the city.
But I think if all of our customers realized the struggle we have, they will really support us.
Eso quería decir a todos los políticos y organizadores que están aquí que nos apoyen.
So again, I just want to reiterate the struggle that it is for a lot of us street vendors working out there. You know, we're working there. We could very well be asking the city to help us out, maybe asking for assistance, but we're working and we're trying to do the best that we can. And it's a dignified job. So, you know, reminding everyone that we're here and we're ready. And thank you for coming and help us to get through the struggle.
I'm very excited to see what the results of this conversation will be about the ways that labor and street vendors can really organize and galvanize and make some successes happen. We've seen a city and an environment that has not been the most welcoming and receptive to street vendors. And street vendors, as I say, are struggling like all of us to make their lives better in the New York City. And we need to do everything we can.
I thought the public discussion was fantastic today. I think there's really exciting things happening. Getting vendors organized and getting the general public to recognize, you know, that they're legitimate small businesses, that they're a legitimate part of the city's economy and they need to be recognized.
I think the event today was a terrific event. It was extremely well attended for us at Murphy. We had some of our traditional folks who come from the labor unions and the broad labor movement, but we had a lot of street vendors here today, which for us is a whole new constituency.
I think it was a really important day for our vendors to see how many allies that they have and to speak up, you know, to be able to share their story in a bigger way and to help people understand, like, you know, the dignity of their work and the importance of vending in New York City and the importance of creating these changes for all vendors.
I think today really showed that now is a crucial point for New York City street vendors. There was a huge victory last year with the lowering of the fines, but now is the really crucial point where we can make another step forward to increase the number of permits and licenses available for New York City street vendors. And we had the City Council speaker here recognize that, and the Commissioner of Immigrant Affairs here recognize that. So now it's really important where we can get all of our allies together around this issue to make more jobs available for working New Yorkers.